This is episode number 91 at the BS Machine, and welcome, guys, welcome. It's been a pretty weird week for me. On Wednesday I was out teaching a bunch of yoga classes and an event and whatever, and I started feeling pretty shit, and then by Wednesday afternoon I was at home. And man, I was in bed shivering, temperature, the whole works. I'm like, have I got COVID? So anyway, went and got a test, COVID positive. Got another test, COVID negative. And I just went, you know what? I don't give a shit. I don't know what I got. But whatever it is, it's definitely thrown me on my ass. So I basically, 2 days I was totally down and out. And I'm one of those people that go, I never get sick. And boy, did I get thrown on my ass. But either way, I feel way better now. I'm still a bit fluey, which you can probably still hear. But definitely getting back to normal. But what I did definitely think about a lot this week when I've had quite a bit of time just to sort of sit back and reflect is, and I'm asking myself this question. So I think a lot of people need to ask themselves this question, which is basically, what's your why? If you're doing something that you love, and even if your work is, or your career at the moment is not something that you're loving, but you're heading towards something that you love, and you want that to be a career, this is a very important question. Because if you don't know your why, then there is going to be a very tough road ahead for you if you're not sure of what your why is. And I mean, look, the biggest thing is, first I want to talk about why it's so important to understand what your why is. And secondly, I'll give you guys a few tips on what I've been doing to find out my true why. But when you go into any situation, even if it's a conversation, whether it's a conflicting one or whether it's a one that serves you, whatever it might be, you have to know your why. Because if you don't, you're just going in totally blind, because you don't have any understanding or any anything to reflect back on what you're going towards. And you know, the perfect example, there's a couple of examples I'm going to use, and one is Apple. I mean, if you look at Apple products, you know their why straight away, and that's why they have pretty much a cult following. And the funny thing is, I actually wanted to look into Apple and Dell and Microsoft and whatever else, just to understand a little bit more about what how it sort of works and the people behind it and whatever. And what I actually found out is that it doesn't actually matter what computer you have, what phone you have, none of that actually matters, because the computer systems and all the phone operating systems and all that type of stuff, it is actually exactly the same. Even the people behind it, they're just as smart. The guys that work for Dell are just as smart as the guys that work for Apple. They come up with just as many incredible innovations to move their thing forward. But it's almost like if you look at someone at an airport and they take out their MacBook, they're like proud to take that thing out. It's like, yep, I'm about to open up my my MacBook. And you know, if you have a look at a guy or a girl or whatever and they pull a Dell computer out of their briefcase at an airport, you sort of just look and going, why would they have that? That's just dumb. You know, and excuse me if you are using a Dell or whatever computer, but that's just sort of the perception out there, isn't it? Where, well, sorry, my bad. It's not that they're dumb, but they're just sort of different. You know, people that use Dell, they don't belong to anything. When you use a MacBook or an Apple, you feel like you're belonging to something. And so, you know, by the Mac products, the Apple products, that you're buying into a why, and you're in it, and you feel like you're getting involved in the whole idea behind having a MacBook or having Apple. And so when you look at companies and you buy into their why, it makes such a big difference, doesn't it? And even, you know what, we went to Bunnings early this week, and we bought something ages ago, and we took it back, and no questions asked, they literally gave us a refund straight away. And you just walk away going, wow, these guys genuinely, it has to be their why. They genuinely have a deep care for their clients, and they make sure that if the clients aren't getting what they wanted, they get a refund. And then, still using these type of examples, you go to like when you buy a car, and straight away, you've got this perception that if you go to some used car salesman, they're just going to be some dodgy, manipulative prick just trying to get a sale out of you, and you're not going to trust a word that they say. But then, I guess if you went to like a Ferrari showroom, or you went to the Tesla or whatever, that it's not a dodgy experience you're going to have. You're going to go there, and it's like you're buying into the product because these people know their why. And it's the same thing for us as individuals. And so, using me as an example, me being a coach, having this podcast, all this type of stuff, that as I move forward, to be honest with you, I'm sort of sitting back going, well, what's my why? Why are clients coming to me, and why do I love what I do, and what's the reason that when I bring a new client on board, what is it? Do they believe in what I'm providing, or do they actually believe that what I'm providing I genuinely believe in? And that's one of the biggest things with me, is that whatever I'm doing, I wholeheartedly believe in the words that are coming out of my mouth. Even in my coaching, I wholeheartedly believe that I'm there to help other people, and I love it. Like, I genuinely get fucking excited when I've got clients coming in, and I get excited. My why in the coaching world is to help others and to bring others into a whole better perspective of who they are, and empower others so I can watch them soar. One of my clients, they have a coaching business also, and now they're fucking kicking my ass. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool, because they came to see me, and now they're absolutely flourishing, and I'm so proud of her. She's absolutely killing it, and it's awesome. I'm like, that's part of my thing. I love that I get to help people and empower people, and make people, follow their dreams, and put their big boy, big girl pants on, and go follow their dreams, and do what they need to do. So that's my why. My why is to wake up and give other people the opportunity through my wisdom or my knowledge, and ignite something in others to help them move forward, or to actually let them move forward. And that's why I've been reflecting a lot on this, because I already know my why. But for example, with this podcast, I'm a bit all over the shop with what my why is for the podcast. And even when I come back to it, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, it's called the BS Machine. And the reason that I started that was to talk about things, and calling myself and calling other people on their bullshit, but really what I'm actually doing is I'm calling life on its bullshit, and I'm calling myself, I'm calling all my listeners on the bullshit, that when we're making up excuses and being victims, I'm calling you on it. I'm going, dude, no, that's fucking bullshit. Like, that's not true. So you want to know with every single thing that you're doing what your why is, and I think a really good question for you, and you've got to be careful here, because if you're currently in a job that you absolutely hate and you loathe, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, ugh, I just can't be bothered, then I think you're going to have to work out your why pretty quickly. And once you work out your why for life, then your dreams will just sort of land for you. They'll come in really quick. And in terms of your dreams, what I mean is what you're actually here to do. And the funny thing is, most of you do know what you're here to do. You're just a little bit shit scared to actually go for it. And I feel you, because I go through that on a daily basis myself. But what is it that gets you up in the morning? And you can make it as simple as, for me, I absolutely love yoga, and that's why I teach it, and because I get to practice, I get to teach. I absolutely love coaching because I love to, one, be around people. I love to empower and help people. What else have I got? I've got this podcast. One of my whys is to reach a huge audience, and the reason being is to help more people. I know I've been put on this earth here to help and empower and make a shift in the world on a global scale. So I thought, okay, well, what's a better way to do it than having a podcast? And that's why this podcast has been growing more and more each and every week. So for you, what is it that gets you up in the morning? What do you love? Do you love being around people? But why do you love being around people? Why does it bring you joy? Do you love, what do you do? Do you go to Pilates? What do you love? What is it? Do you love law? Do you love numbers? Do you love finance? Do you love money? But what's the why? What's the reason you love it? What's your actual why? What gets you out of bed when you're doing that thing, when you get excited? Like, it's actually quite simple, guys, and to bring it back to, whoa, that's a full burp. Excuse me, guys. So if you heard that, and sorry, but it is. It's a big thing for you, and it's a big thing for me, and so how do we find out our why? And I talk a lot about this in terms of jumping on board into yourself and looking within, and having the courage to look within, where there's Brene Brown, if you've seen her Netflix series or her Netflix little hour and a half thing, she says that when she gets up in the morning, the first thing she says to herself before she puts her feet on the ground is, today I'm choosing courage over fear. And I believe that that's a very, very impressive way to start your morning. Even before you put your feet on the ground, I choose courage over fear. And when you don't know how to find answers, if you're being courageous, then you will find answers. And if you're choosing courage over fear, you will find exactly what you're looking for. And your why will be the reason that people will absolutely flock to you. Even if you're an actress, an actor, whatever it is that you're doing, unless you know your why, there is no thing or no person that will believe in you. People have to believe in you when you open your mouth. And you can't just, read a book and then relay the information and then talk about the information you learned in the book, because no one's going to give two shits about it. No one's going to care. No one will listen to you. No one will feel you. When you actually, you have a belief in the reason that you're breathing and the reason that you're helping and the reason that you're serving other people, whether it's through a business, whether it's through what I do, whether it's something else, whatever it might be, you have to bring in a level of belief, a level of understanding of why people need to listen to you, why people need you in their life, or why they need your product in their life. What does it do for them? And once you have that, then it's this attraction. And when you meet someone that has this incredible belief in themselves, and they have this knowledge about who they truly are and why they're doing the things that they're doing, you immediately want more of that. You want more of that energy. And it's just, you're attracted to them immediately. You want to know more about them. You want to understand more about them. You want to learn from them. You want to, be lucky enough for them to share their wisdom with you. And that's where it is. So how do you get this why? What do you actually do? How do we get to the bottom of why we're doing the things that we're doing and why we're sharing this wealth, this wisdom with the rest of the world? And to be honest with you, it takes a little bit of digging. It does take some digging. It takes for you to well, it could be journaling, but the questions I would be asking myself is, I mentioned it before, when you wake up and you are excited to go do something, what are the things that will get you out of bed? What are they? And then why? Why are those things? Why are you excited about those things? And when you find out why you're excited about that, then ask yourself, what is it within you that is being ignited for you to go and be excited, for you to go and do that thing of whatever that is? If you have an idea and every time you think about that idea that pops in for you, why do you get butterflies in the stomach? It's like, what do you see? Do you see that it's helping people? Do you see that your idea makes a massive difference to a product, to a TV, to, is an electronic thing, whatever it is? I mean, how does it make a difference to other people? What's going to make someone else get off their ass and do something? And, I'll use another one of my perfect examples. I had this unbelievable idea. It was like 2 years ago or whatever, and some of you might have even seen it back then, which was, I had that Yoga for Dudes thing. A lot of you guys might remember, it was yogafordudes.com.au, and I had a whole 6-week program out, which is basically, I was like, fuck man, dudes need yoga. Like, I want to see more dudes in yoga. Like, what an epic thing, and no one's done it before. It's called Yoga for Dudes. Even the branding, it's unbelievable. It's awesome, and it's going to be an online thing. And man, dudes are just going to be going off for this thing. And I'm going to sell thousands of these things. It's going to go off. Anyway, put it out. I think I sold like 50 or 60 or something, and it was just dragging, and I'm like, why are guys so dumb? But then I sat back and I went, hang on a second, guys aren't going to buy this thing. Like, I know myself, before I started yoga, the last thing I would be doing is going out and spending whatever $140 on some random dude teaching me yoga on my TV or on my laptop for whatever, every day, for whether it's a half-hour practice or a meditation and this and that. So I totally didn't know my why with that. And if I did know my why back then it would have been a whole different story, because I wouldn't have done it online. Because really, in terms of that should have been a live thing for dudes every single week. That should have been a live thing in different cities or whatever, and for me to organise it, whatever it might have been. But it was never ever going to work. There's no way that any dude is going to be spent, unless they're forced to by their partner, or unless they're like proper yoga people that are, yogis or whatever, that have done heaps of yoga, then for sure they'd be on it, but they'd probably be going to classes anyway. They'd be like, why would I buy your program, dude? Like, I'm already a yoga guy. So anyway, that's the thing. If you don't know your why, your product is never going to get off the line. If you don't know your why, your dreams are never going to get past the starting line. And so you do have to dig. And so the digging begins with you guys, and this whole idea of choosing courage over fear means that you have to move forward. You've got to get into your ideal digging of how you would dig for yourself. How would you dig into what your why is? And I think it's super important for you to do that. And I mean, look, do you guys, it feels to me like you want a few more little tips here, and I can give you more, and but it just feels to me like whatever I give you, it will, like I just think that from already what I've said, there might be a big part of you that that already has some ideas on what to do, and part of that would obviously be that you would open up your laptop, isn't a MacBook, or a paper and pen or notepad or whatever, and literally at the top of the page you would write, what is my why? What is my why? And if you want to make it a generic one about life, do it. But I would suggest doing more of a specific one. If you have a dream, why would people allow you to be the person that gives them that dream? Why? Who are you? Like, why wouldn't they just get it off someone else? Like, if you were to have your thing and Cock and Balls down the road had another thing, why wouldn't they take it off them? Why if it's such an epic idea, and it's an epic idea and you haven't done shit about it, it's because you don't know your why yet. So find it out, get to it, and once you do have that, then you will have a very, very, very different experience, and things will really start to move for you. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening today. Excuse my little rumbly voice, my little, I don't know, half COVID-y, half flu-y voice. And I'll see you guys next time, which will be next Monday. But I think I've got a really cool guest coming on. His name's Lars, and he is like a full. He's got a company called Lars Ice Bath, and I'm getting him on this week, and it's going to be such a good conversation, because we'll be talking about the benefits of cold water therapy, the benefits of ice bathing, of breathing. He is unbelievable. He's one of the guys that introduced me to this epic type of work, and I'm super excited to get him on. So that'll be the next interview I get on. In the meantime, I might throw up another little midweek reminder this week. And last week I didn't do one because obviously I was shivering in bed. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for listening. Absolute honour to have you guys and to be part of the bullshit, not bullshit, but the BS Machine community. Love ya.